Oh, a great sage by the name Mahatma Tailang Swamiji Maharaj lived at Varanasi for about 280 years. Probably the time he spent at Varanasi was slightly more than 100 years. And there have been events that have been well recorded, which thousands of the people claim to have watched and witnessed in direct. He had an ardent, submitted, devout disciple by the name Umacharan. He was a submitted disciple, had many questions in the mind, but seldom would dare out to seek clarification upon long pending questions he was holding within himself. One of the foremost questions he held within himself was, do we have a past life? And do we have a rebirth? That is the future life. And if at all we have that, and that fact is beyond any doubt, in that case, what was I in my past life and what shall I be in my future life? The question is genuine and prevails within most of the seekers who somehow come under the realms of their own evolution. But he would never be able to ask the question to his master. Master was a Trikaladarshi. He could very well understand what is ongoing within the mind of Umacharan. Once he confronted him and he asked him, Umacharan, you have something that you want to clarify, isn't it? Do not fear, ask me. So that was the opportunity before Umacharan to seek clarification. And he expressed his seeking. Master, do we have a past life? Is there rebirth? And if at all it is, what was I in my past life and what shall I be in my future life? The master, the great master, replied Umacharan, it's needless to know about your name, your location, and all those relations that you had in your past life. That may account to certain problems. The more important for the sake of your own evolution is to understand about the kind of nature, the kind of propensities that were driving you in your past life, and to the extent you have evolved in this present life, thereby what shall you be, or what kind of a being you shall be in your future life. That's more meaningful to know for the sake of your own evolution, your own inner growth. Having said that, Master continued, Umacharan, observe your driving urges. Those impulsive, instinctive drivers that you have within yourself that create an intense craving that you want to gratify at any cost. Something that sways your wisdom. Can you understand those? Observe them within yourself. Maybe in the form of greed, lust, anger, doubt, whatever. Left to you to observe your own self within yourself. But try to understand what are the driving urges within you. Those impulsive, instinctive urges that at times come and shatter your entire reasonable understanding. And they seek their gratification at any cost, whatever the cost may be. And you yourself at times get surprised to learn about your own self that that is not me in general. What happens to me during those moments? Make a list of them. I'm adding few words to what exactly the conversation would have transpired between the master and Umacharan for the sake of understanding to the listeners. And also try to understand, have you been able to overcome some of those urges, intense urges that sway you like a storm towards a small boat? Have you been able to overcome to some extent in this life? If not, now wait, hold on and understand. Those driving urges, those impel, that cast their sway upon your mind and take you away like a broken leaf from a tree, a dry leaf from a tree. That is what you were in your past life. You were in a past life without seeking the name, location, etc. That's not important for you as a seeker. And now you can yourself understand by observing within to what extent have you been able to overcome. And if at all nothing has been done upon them, or if something has been done on few and almost nothing has been done on the other aspect of the list, then believe it, Umacharan, that is the you that shall manifest in the next life, rebirth. So by understanding in this manner, you can very well understand about your past life. Of course, yes, observe yourself in this present life, and at the same time understand what you shall be in your next life. Thereby you can plan the course of your own inner purification. You can very well understand the kind of work that has to be done within yourself. Now comes the fact about the rebirth. If you want to question the concept or the fact as such, then Umacharan, these are the words of the master, do not doubt something which has prevailed through thousands of years and have been time and again established by the great exalted ones. They have reiterated this fact, so there is no reason for you to doubt. I do understand and I know what was your past life, where you were, not only one past life but several past lives. I very well know about your future life as well. But that's meaningless for me to mention, because more important for a seeker is to understand exactly the kind of work he should now initiate upon. What should he or she should be doing? If one has to make a list of important to-dos in the light of one's own evolution, in the light of one's own inner growth, then here comes the understanding about that list. You can enumerate that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Observe them at ease during your moments of upasana and then plan accordingly. The kind of austerity you must observe, the tapa. You must observe to gather more strength, atmabal, in order to overcome, in order to obliterate the impact of those urges that seek their gratification at any cost. They usurp the creative resource of your mind and they create an intense turbulence. So, Umacharan, now you understand what has to be done within you by understanding what kind of past life you had and what shall be your future life. The amount of work you will be able to do within this life from today onwards shall determine the kind of you as a being in the next life. And this is the takeaway for all of us, especially all of us that are deeply interested to understand about our own individuality at our depths, those who want to know about how and what they were in their past life, irrespective of the name, location, etc. And those who seriously want to embark upon to evolve and achieve the final objective of emancipation whenever. But at least we know the list that must comprise with all those factors that we have to work upon. One by one, we have to start work upon them. Not all of them can be accomplished or can be taken at one go, one by one. Obliterate their impact without having any guilt, without getting disheartened for a single moment even. Because this is inner evolution and we are combating something which has been in its construction since past countless lives. So something that has been built up in past countless life cannot be accomplished or overcome in one single life, in a single sway. One effort or one sadhana may not suffice. So therefore, do not get disheartened, ever. Do not hold any guilt, whether your urge, your impulse, your impel of the seeking corresponds to lust or whatever. Do not hold any guilt, but determine with yourself that I have to overcome it. Moving through countless falls, you have to rise again. This is like a game of Ludo, where every time you throw the dice, you gather an escalation. And at times at the last box, before the last box, you're bitten by the dragon, and all of you have to restart from box number 405. Snake and ladder. Inner evolution is something like snake and ladder game, where there are countless falls. And you do not have an option to leave the dice and say that it's not for me, I shall not be able to accomplish. No. Through countless falls, a seeker has to evolve without holding an element of guilt. Remember that I'm repeating this fact again and again, because most of the times the seeker are more vulnerable to their own inner guilt. There is no need for the guilt. Once you realize that you have to overcome it, you're working upon that, you attempted and you fell, there's no room for any guilt, because you shall rise again and make another effort. Maybe you again fail. Does not matter. That may take decades to overcome. If the fight is ongoing, you are a true seeker and you deserve to win. You shall win. And you shall win are the words of Mahatma Tailang Swami, the one who was bestowed with the title of Sachal Vishvanath. Vishwanath in moving, the living Vishwanath. Ramakrishna Paramahansa bestowed him the title of living Vishwanath, Sachal Vishvanath. Keep this in mind. As a seeker, keep this in mind. Take a stock of your own self, your true self. The true self which is covered by a panchakosha, that has the energy circuitry, the mind circuitry, experiential circuitry, etc. Annamaya Kosh and Anandamaya Kosh, of course, yes, to close the brackets. Observe that. Make a list and start your work. Om.